morning, Tony. And all the discarnate spirits are here. And those are watching us from the internet, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. So our lecturer today got sick, Teresa. So she's at home, she can barely talk. So I'm covering for her. I did not prepare something very deep, but the subject is Jesus. So we're just going to talk a little bit from lessons that we can learn from Jesus, which is several of them. So I'm going to start with a reading from the book Happy Life, and then our prayer. And unfortunately, I brought some slides, but I cannot change the slides as we don't have IT support today. So I'll try to see. You can do it?
I can do it.
Okay. So Tony just volunteered to change the slides. So if you just sit there, there is with the mouse you can see a slide from the left and slide to the right. All right, so we are all set. So all right, so I'm going to start with the reading.
Here.
Found it? If a difficulty emerges to block your path, do not waste time. Go around it. If an unexpected problem threatens your balance, do not be upset. Silence your rebelliousness and try to solve it as the best as you can. If someone whom you love has changed their behavior toward you or deserted you, stay serene. The rebel, the deserter, with their irrational attitudes have lost their reason. Be calm. What you lose now, you will obtain later. Whatever happens to you, if you know how to deal with it, will always be for your future good. So we have obstacles right now, and we just figured out how to solve it. So this is perfect. Dear Master Jesus, our friend, our supporter, a spirit who guides us in all the instances of our life in this planet. We pray to you so that we can get your blessings in this moment of learning and inspiration. We ask you, Jesus, to come among us, to spread your happiness and a little bit of your light so that we can reflect that on those who need. Thank you. So be it. Good morning.
Hello.
So today will be like a private lecture. All right, guys. So as I was saying, today we're going to talk a little bit about Jesus. And for that, I selected just a few situations of his life so that we can take all okay. So before saying that, Jesus, we've learned from Spiritism that he was the personification of the divine laws. He was the most pure example that we had or that we have in this earth. So everything that he says or he said, his actions, has a lot to teach us. So we have a lot to learn from the most simple examples from when Jesus was here with us. So that's why if we have patience enough, and if we take the time to study his words, to study his actions, we have so much to learn. And there's so much comfort in there. And the interesting thing is that when Spiritism started, when Kardec started to investigate, he was not thinking about Jesus. There was no connection to any religion, any leader. He was just, so the first question that he was trying to answer was, are there spirits? Are there spirits? So what's going on? What is this phenomenon? And then he started investigating, and then he saw, yeah, there are spirits, and they can communicate with us. And they, who are they? They are us after we discarnate, after we die. And then through his investigation that we can follow on the Spirits book, the next question, so the questions they start following one another. What is God? So what is the Spirit? So where are you? So if you exist, you are somewhere. So how is the place around you? So do you have matter? So do you have a body? So then he started answering these questions little by little, and he started to build this knowledge that today we call Spiritism. And then naturally, he started going to the moral laws. What is right? What is wrong? Is this right? Is this so? Now that we have this new perspective of life that never ends, so everything changes. So that then what we think or what we thought it was right, it changes. So that was not, that was for the old perspective. The new perspective, it brings new questions. And then he went on and on through all the divine laws, laws of the universe, laws of nature. And then he asks, okay, what is, if we want to follow a reference, an incarnated reference, a person, who would be the best example? And then Jesus, the Spirit's answer, Jesus Christ. He was the personification of the divine laws, or he is the personification. That's how Jesus was linked to Spiritism. That was the first time. So it's a differentiated perspective, because we started learning from the other side, and then we learned that actually the personification of all the laws that we must learn to live well here and there is Jesus. So that's the moment that we became Christians. So because it's a consequence of learning the laws of God, that we learned that the reference for those laws is Jesus Christ. And it's very interesting to think that at this time, that then the Spiritism started naturally started to connect with Christmas, because that's when we celebrate when Jesus came to us, He came among us. And this is, it seems to be, at least for me, a time of the year where everything is more colorful and people are happier. We start thinking more about our families. And we will see that that is Jesus. If to him, the most important school, it's the family. It's the family itself. That's the most important cell of our society. And that's what we focus on at this moment of the year, this time of the year. If Jesus was born on December 25th or not, it really doesn't matter. We know that the calendar changed, the way we count. We had to make room for 2 emperors in the middle of July and August. And there was a date that was available, which was December 25th. It was the date of the day of the god Mithras, which was a warrior god in the time of the Romans. And some historians say that once the Christians started to multiply, especially at the time of Constantinus, when he made Christianity the official religion of the Roman Empire, there were still hundreds of years of the old religion, the Roman religion, which is the religion that where you pray for your ancestors at home. So you have a special place at home with some statues of your ancestors, and you pray to them. That's why there was a merge of Christianism with the Roman culture, and today we have little statues and we pray to them. So at that time, since there was a huge population of both religions, both thought, philosophies, in order to prevent further war and civil war, it was decided, okay, let's make a special holiday for the Christians. And they just substitute the December 25th, instead of being for God Mitras, they put Jesus Christ. And this is one side of the story. But what I mean by all that is that it really doesn't matter. What we celebrate on December 25th is that we were sent, an incarnated person. So we were not sent just a book. We were not sent a mystical message. We were sent a Christ. What is a Christ? A Christ is a job. It's a job that you get when you become a high order spirit. It's a Messiah. You become responsible for a population of a planet. So that's the mission, the job of a Messiah, of a Christ, is to educate the population of a planet towards God. That's why Christ, it has a project for each individual that is living in that planet. Every one of us. Jesus has a plan for each one of us. And when we were ready, he decided that for him, it was time for him to come among us and be the exteriorization of the God's laws, to show us how it is, what we have to do to become like him. Not God, become like Jesus. Everything that he said, everything that he did was to teach us how to become like him. And he was so...
It's not best.
What, the slides?
Yeah.
No, I'll tell you when to change.
Okay. No, but I click doesn't show there.
Oh, no, this, okay. I control this one for them, and you control that one.
Okay.
So then, since Jesus is a pure spirit and he's a Christ, we say he and we refer to him as Jesus because that's what we have. So we imagine him as a man and by the name of Jesus. But he doesn't have a name. He's not identified by a name, and he doesn't have a gender. So this is our own limitation that makes it, and that in our language that we have, when I want to talk about Jesus, I have to say his name and his gender. But he doesn't have any of those. So when you become a Christ, it means that you no longer have any of the passions that we share. So first you graduate from the planetary incubator. So you disconnect from this planet. So you no longer have to reincarnate. You no longer you don't have to learn to be better. You're already there. You're always going to learn more and more, but you don't have flaws anymore. So that's the main difference. A pure spirit doesn't have human flaws. It is not limited by pride. It's not governed by uh, rage or instinct. It's a spirit that is pure. When you reach that stage, that's when you start working. You become like an intern for God. You receive missions, you receive responsibilities, and then you start growing. The more you learn, the higher the responsibility. And then at a certain point, you receive the responsibility to be a Christ. So then you will be receiving your own planet to take care of. So that planet now is your responsibility. And each planet in all the star systems in the universe have a Christ responsible for that. And Jesus Christ is the responsible person responsible for us. Then it's very interesting when you start reading about Jesus that his breath already, since he's a pure spirit, everything he does is according to the divine laws. So that's why we have so much to learn from Jesus to this day. And that's why Spiritism is so involved in studying Jesus and trying to bring that to us. In the stories from that time that we have from Emmanuel, André Luis, spirits that come to earth with the mission to improve translations of the Gospels so that we can continue learning about Jesus. And the more we advance, the more we study, the more we understand, the deeper we go in his examples and actions. And all that, it's not to remove any pain from us. It's not going to prevent us from suffering. And it's not going to remove the pain that we feel. But it's going to bring consolation. What's the difference? It's going to teach us that the pain and the suffering, it's meant to purify us so that one day we'll become like him. We'll become as strong and pure as he is. But for that, we need to purify ourselves. So the sufferings that we go through, the pain that we go through are lights that it meant that a particular point in us is being worked on. That particular weakness, it's being worked on right now. And as Joanna Giangeli said here in the book, we have to avoid rebelliousness, anger, or complaining. We go through that, remember Jesus, and we work with the pain. We work in the suffering so that we maintain our growth. We make that light inside of us multiply and purify us. I'm speaking symbolically because that's the best way I know how to transmit this message. But I hope that it's coming across. So I want to bring on all this, I want to bring two situations of Christ's life here on earth, and try to extract as much teaching, as much lesson from it that I can. So the first one, let me see if I can change the slide. It was working a minute ago. Okay, give me 1 minute. Sorry guys, we're having technical problems. Okay, and here you can click to change the slide, and just click on this. Yeah. Okay. When you click, then I can make it work. Sorry, guys. So, what is this? What is this part here? So, what is this scene that we see? So, this is Mary and Elizabeth. Elizabeth was Jesus' cousin, John the Baptist's mom. So they were very close. And at that time, Jesus and John, they were children. And so the two families, they used to get together to eat, to have dinner, to have lunch, just as we do it today. And then, as Jesus and John would go to take a walk, this you can bring it back. Do you see here? Oh yeah.
I was looking for the
Yeah,
other one.
this is like the second screen of that one. They used to go to take a walk and meditate. So it had two children, and they were always discussing very serious topics that would make their moms very worried, because they're moms, right? They're moms. So they are both talking about Jesus and John and saying that I don't understand these kids. They are so young. I believe at that time that they were like 12 years old or 10. And they would say that they seem to have so heavy problems that they discuss, and they have these serious faces, and they seem to carry so much, such a heavy burden. And sometimes, so Mary's saying, sometimes I see Jesus by the road talking to people that are passing by, and even those that we know are not, they are like criminals. And that scares me. Jesus talking to these type of people. But they seem to like what he says. They come and they sit and they stay there for hours to listen to him. And then Elizabeth would say, yeah, John it's the same. So he goes somewhere and he stays all day just sitting there by himself thinking. And he comes with all this philosophical concepts. And Jesus knew that. So if you guys imagine, if you remember, Chico Xavier, people who used to live with him and or share moments with him, they would say that it was not very easy to be around him, because Chico could capture what you were thinking. And depending on what you were thinking, he would come to you and say, my friend, don't think it like that. Don't do that. So this that happened to you, it's not something that you should be mad about. And you didn't say anything. So he would just capture that. And this is a real thing. So if you go to Brazil, you know a lot of people that happened to them. They first person, and they can tell you. That was Chico. So imagine Jesus. So they would capture everything. And with that worry in mind, Mary, she goes to the temple, because Elizabeth was married to one of the guys from the temple. Yeah, I think you can say a priest. And then she asked Elizabeth, can you go to the temple and see if you can get like a scholarship for Jesus, for him to study in the temple, to get involved in the work in the temple, because I'm afraid that he's going to lose himself. So I want him to work there in the temple. And then Elizabeth goes and talks to Eleazar. And Jesus was known in the temple. If you guys remember, he went to the temple when he was very young. And he had the whole philosophical discussion with the priests in the temple. And he could counter arguments all the knowledge that they had. So everybody was very impressed with Jesus. Jesus of Nazareth, as he was known at that time. And then Mary, So then Eleazar talked to the priests in the temple, and they get a scholarship for him to go there and study. Because at that time, education was provided by religious groups. So this was true until very recently. And so if you wanted to get a good education, you also needed to be connected with Judaism. Then you would go to Rome and Athens to get your education. So then Eleazar tells that to Mary, and then Mary gets very happy. Okay, very good. I found a path where Jesus is going to have a future. And then she goes back home, and Jesus looks at her, and he understands everything. And then he goes to Mary in a very loving way. And he says, before she said anything, he says, Mom, have I not proven to you that I'm already with God? Why do you want me to learn from humans if I'm already with God? I already showed that to you. So I came to teach, not to learn with them. And then to show what is to represent that lesson, he chooses the best school. Instead of going to the temple, instead of going to Rome, instead of going to Athens, he goes and asks for his dad, Joseph, to accept him in his shop so that he could work with him. So there are several lessons here, but this is one of the most important ones. Jesus is showing what is the best school, what is the first school, is at home. And he's showing his mom what is it that God wants from us. What is it what is God's plan? So we have there Joseph, and how many times do we hear about Joseph in the Bible? It's very little, very little. Nobody ever studies about Joseph. Nevertheless, without his work, without his shop, there wouldn't be a mission for Jesus. So until he was 33, Jesus was part of this family. So he was sustained, he was fed by Joseph. So Joseph was bringing food, and he gave them a house. So you see that the importance, it doesn't matter if people know about it or not. But it matters, it's your work. You could be there, quiet in your corner, and doing your duty. Nobody will know, but God will know. So the most important thing is for you to do your duty. So that's one of the lessons. It's Joseph's example. And then Jesus there, very humble with his dad, learning everything that he could about carpentry. And instead of going into a fancy scholarship, he preferred, because there was nothing that he could learn from that. He was, or he is, Christ, as I said. He's responsible for our planet. He preferred to stay home and work with his family. And Humberto de Campos tells us, the spirit, that he was a very happy child. He was bringing joy to the family life. So he was very happy to be part of that family. And he stayed there for 33 years. And then he left for his mission in the last 2 years of his incarnation. So that gives us a perspective of how important it is, the duties that we have to our families. And why they say that that is the best school. But then, when Jesus was ready, he went for his mission. So he left home. And he started walking. So he knew exactly where to go. The first thing that, the first place that he went was close to the Galilean Sea to talk to the fishermen. Why? Because those were the simplest people that were ready to receive his word. And in the Gospel of Luke, we see when he meets so I'm just trying to see here the name of. So this is
Andrew and Simon.
Andrew and Matthew. Sorry,
Peter.
no, it's not
No,
Peter. It's
no.
the other Simon.
Andrew's Pedro, right? Peter.
Yeah, but Peter is also his first name was Simon. So there were two Simons, but nevertheless. So those are the first two apostles that he had a contact with. And in the gospel, we see Luke describing that when Jesus saw them, he smiled. And so he comes as a friend, just that had just recognized two other friends. Sometimes we think that Jesus came to them, hey, follow me, I'm your master. And they, oh yeah, I'm ready, I'm gonna follow you. It was not exactly like that. So these people, these spirits, they already came with the mission to work with Jesus. They already knew each other. They had already been chosen. So they didn't know, but they actually recognized Jesus. So it's like us learning about a profession and, oh my God, this is exactly what I want to do. That's perfect for me. I love this. And we recognize something that we are supposed to do. And it was the same thing. So Jesus went to them as a friend. He hugged them. He was a big hugger. He was always hugging everybody. So if we think, if Jesus came to us right now, and we imagine that he would come like a spirit of light, and he would materialize, and we would kind of be half blind with his light. That's not Jesus. He would come as a person through that door, sit there at the back, not at the front. He would sit at the back. Always sit to the lowest seat. So if someone thinks that you are worthy, they are going to put you in the right seat. So that's another one of his lessons. So he would sit at the back, always smiling all the time. A simple man, just like us, dressed like us. And but they would have such a good and pleasant energy that we would want to go and talk to him. At least just say hi. That is Jesus. And we see that after that, they went to Peter's house. And they had a very pleasant dinner. Friends having dinner and having joy in sharing each other's company. So that was Jesus. And we imagine that he was a guy that was always suffering and crying for us. That is not Jesus. So we should not confuse Jesus with one of us, with a spirit that is in expiation here, is facing challenges. There was no challenges for Jesus here. He did not face any challenges. He already went through all this. In the same way that a professor, PhD, whatever, goes back to undergrad, is not going to suffer any challenge. It's not going to see any challenge. He has been doing that for like 30, 40 years. Jesus' challenge is to bring us closer to God. That's his challenge to this day. It's not for him, it's for us. It's to show us the way to God. That is his challenge, that he never gave up on and that he will never will. Remember, he doesn't have human flaws. He's a pure spirit. So he will never give up until every single one of us, under his responsibility, is a pure spirit. So imagine this type of commitment. And that is Jesus Christ. That's why we call him our master, our friend, our brother. Because that's what he is. But there was something that was also in this time, before a little bit about this scene, when Jesus was walking from Nazareth, he stops to rest or to sit close to this place. And he was always very happy. So he probably was smiling. And there was a sacerdote by the name of Hanan that was later on his judge, one of the judges that condemned him to the cross. And he comes to Jesus and calls him a Galilean. So that's also very important. Jesus looked like any other person from that region. He didn't have blue eyes, or he was not German. He looked like a Galilean person. That's Luke's gospel. And then called him a Galilean. What are you doing here? Or what are you doing in these parts? The guy got very rude. And Jesus says, I came to establish the kingdom of God. And then the priest, it's like you have a Nobel Prize winner in physics with a kid sitting down and say, hey, I'm going to figure out the problem of nuclear fission. And then the other guy, a much older guy that had been studying that all his life and could not figure out, who are you, man? Who are you? You're a kid sitting there. And it was the same thing. And then this priest started asking several questions, and it says, have you been to Rome? Have you been to Athens? Like Harvard or Oxford? And Jesus said, I don't need it. I know the truth and I know love. So this is another lesson. So Jesus did not get offended, and he did not offend. But he also did not lose time. He did not lose time because he knew that that person was not ready to receive the seed of the gospel. That person was not ready. So he spoke the truth, because that, of course, that spirit still, to this day, remembers his meeting with Jesus. But that spirit was not ready yet. So then he did not lose time. He was always loving to anybody. But these are the guys who he sat down with and he explained the gospel. He explained all his teachings. And that's why from the letters of Paul and the gospel, according to Spiritism, we learn that we should not go to the Gentiles. Gentiles are those who are not Jewish. So at that time, they used to call whoever is not Jewish Gentiles. So Paul was the first one that went to teach beyond the Jewish community. He went to the Gentiles. So when the Spirit tells us don't go to the Gentiles, it says don't lose time with those that don't want to hear you. So you can speak the truth all the time, But if a person doesn't want to hear you, and they are happy the way they are, don't lose time. Don't offend those people by imposing your opinion. Don't do that. You're not going to get anywhere. It's just that moment is no longer teaching or charity. It is pride. It's us trying to impose our opinion. So you always speak the truth, but don't lose your time. Spend time with those who are ready, and you will see that. Because there's a person with an open heart in front of you. You know. And this is also true from Kardec's books. So we see in what is Spiritism, page 34, in the Parisian Society, first ever Spiritist house. Kardec was always there. His door was always open. He could talk to anybody. But whoever would come and ask him, oh, I want to know this, this, and that, my friend, first you have to study. First you have to. How can I explain a whole science to you right now if you are not prepared for it? If you don't want to spend any time on it. So first, as any other philosophy or science, you have to spend some time to study it. Then I can help you. It's not, it has to be a 50%, 50% situation. So you do a little bit of effort, and then I can use that to help you. And then you learn a little bit more, I teach a little bit more, or vice versa. So this is, it's an important lesson for us to remember to respect other people. And then we have this image that I wanted to bring to all of us. When Paul of Tarsus, from the book Paul and Stephen, in the end of the book, when Paul is executed and he wakes up right away in the spiritual realm, who is the first one to see him there? To receive him on the other side? Have you guys read the book? Jesus is there waiting for him. And what is the first thing that Jesus does? Is to hug him. So instead of us remembering Jesus as the suffering guy in the cross that we have to pay penitence or cry for, let's remember him as who he really is. Happy spirit, full of friendship, full of love. So that's who he is. And this Christmas, that's what we need to remember. If we ask him to come to our house, to bless our house, he will come. Maybe he's going to hug us like that. So this is Jesus. It's a loving spirit that have a lot of love for every single one of us. Every one of us. No one is forgotten. Even when we forget him, he does not forget us. He is not driven by human flaws. Always remember that. He's a Christ, a Messiah. So his responsibility is to bring us to God. And he will do it. He will do it. On our own time. Because he's a loving spirit. He's going to respect our own time. If it takes several incarnations, he's going to walk with us. Every single incarnation. Always there. Until maybe one day we'll be able to see him there. It's like a parent that is always looking at his son or daughter from far away. Always going behind the curtain and helping things. Always there. But the son or the daughter doesn't want to talk to that parent. They are rebellious. They think, my parents don't know anything. But it doesn't matter. The parent, the loving parent, It's always there. It's unconditional. Will always be there, even if that son or daughter doesn't see it. So that is Jesus Christ. That's his image. And that's what we have to remember in the end of the year. And that's why I really believe we should feel gratitude. Gratitude. It doesn't matter what is happening. We are being guided by love. And a spirit, a pure, perfect spirit that is committed to bring us to happiness. So this is an amazing thought. And that in itself is a huge consolation. Because we have, it's more than a superhero that is there and committed to help us grow every step of the way. All right? Thank you, guys. That's what I wanted to bring to you today. And hopefully, we can all remember that. Not just only Christmas, but throughout the whole year. In every situation that we are, we remember that we have a spirit like that taking care of us. So, is there any comment? Do you see any comment to on the right of the screen? On the other side, the right, is there any? There's a small chat in there.
No.
No? Okay. Do you guys have any comment, any question, anything to say? No? All good? All right. So I'm going to turn down the lights. I'm going to turn on the sound so that we can have the music, and we'll go to our class. There. Sam, you're helping me? Yeah? Good. So, you take this side, you take this side. Dear brothers and sisters, let's open our hearts to this loving spirit, to our brother and our master, so that we can receive his love, we can receive his blessings, and carry them with us for as long as we are able to. Thank you. our Creator. We thank you for the opportunity to be reincarnated, for the opportunity to be alive, learning every day with lessons from those who are sent by you to show us the way to happiness, peace, and serenity. We thank you for everything that we have in this life, all the difficulties that bring development, that bring light to our hearts, to all the family members, to all the friends, all the love that surrounds us. And we thank you for our planet, this beautiful place that was given to us as our blessed school. Be with us, dear Lord, during this week. Thank you. So be it. All right, my friends, thank you very much for coming, and I hope you guys have a very good week.
Rafael,
Yeah.
2 comments.
Oh, yes.
There is some Nanaimo bar here. So
A what?
Nanaimo bar. So
Okay.
just go nuts, please. Free, just go grab it, one. And yesterday we donate blood. So it
Oh,
was
that's
awesome.
very good, very good. Thank you, Leah.
Just cut and go. For those who like Nanaimo bar. Trade in Nanaimo bar. Grabbing you.
Como que foi ontem lá, da tua semana que vem.
Challenge of the character.
Como é que tá o trabalho lá? Não, de ano agora com college também, final do semestre. Eles fazem parada lá. Cara, na verdade a gente está. A demanda é baixa agora, então talvez vai parar. A semana de Natal eu vou ver se vai parar. Porque só 27 e 28 provavelmente vai abrir.
Vai dar uma
A baixa demanda.
No, she's learning.
Desculpa, não sei se
She's very much.
college vai fechar.
Eu trabalho em indústria. Trabalho em indústria de embalagem.
All right, man. See ya.
O college para 3 semanas agora.
Oi, Tereza.
Vai até dia 15 e volta dia 8.
So this is called Nanaimo.
Nanaimo Bar.
Japanese?
Não, é de Messias.
Esqueci, eu morei todo esse tempo em Victoria, pertinho de Nanaimo.
Nanaimo.
Eu tenho Nanaimo Bar, assim.
Eu vou desligar agora. Obrigado, Tereza. Everything we are saying, it's still live.